What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined by my dad, Sean, and today, reactions to the classics. We are entering the 1970s as we are continuing our series of our album draft series, top 5 records of the year for each of us. And Dad, it's been fun. We started in '65.
Yeah, exactly.
Enjoyed it.
1965. If you missed any of them, check it out at the end of this. We've got 65 through 69. Debuts every Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time on YouTube. Usually I'm on there in the live chat getting your thoughts on that. So that's been a lot of fun so far. But yeah, Trey, we're up to the decade of my birth, and maybe, and I think it is, the greatest decade in music history. If you don't know how we do this, you haven't been here before, Trey's gets first pick today. We alternate every year. I get second, third. He gets fourth and fifth. It's snake style if you understand fantasy football and that sort of stuff. But yeah, so I mean, on that, Trey, your number one pick.
Gonna cue this up. Gonna go with the innovators of heavy metal here. Get Ozzy and company ready. It's Black Sabbath's Paranoid record. One of my favorite albums of all time. All killer, no filler in my opinion. Their second record, they also had their self-titled come out in this year as well. A-sides filled with some of the more iconic metal tracks of all time. Of course, you have War Pigs. Yeah. You have Iron Man.
Let's go. Road Warriors, Legion of Doom.
That's right. And then, of course, the Paranoid track itself. You get a track that's a bit underrated. I think Planet Caravan. It's a bit unique in its production style. And then the B-side, you have the ominous Hand of Doom, which cautions against heroin use. A Bill Ward drum solo in Rat Salad. And then a bluesy closer filled with killer riffs and Fairies Wear Boots. I think it still packs a punch even 50 plus years later, and as somebody who's not like a big metal guy, it still resonated quite a bit with me. So starting off with a little Sabbath action.
Yeah, no, and it's fantastic. It's actually one of the few classic albums. There's a few, but it's one of the few classic albums, Trey, that we've never reacted to or reviewed on the channel. So hopefully at some point we get to that. But so we're going to take quite the shift in direction, yet right up there with the greatness. Speaking of the Beatles, we're going to go with All Things Must Pass.
Ooh,
George Harrison.
Great pick.
In my opinion, the best Beatles solo album there is out there. Now, just a little background on it. I mean, Harrison had all these songs accumulated over the last several years that the Beatles wouldn't greenlight for their album. So it's one of those things where he gets to store up all this great material and get it out there. Number 1 in the U.S. for 8 weeks, in the UK for 7. Sold more than Lennon's Imagine and McCartney and Wings' Band on the Run combined. Oof. We got My Sweet Lord, we got Isn't It a Pity, we got What Is Life, Hear Me Lord, the title track, all kinds of stuff. Now, Trey, I'll say this because we said it in our review that we have. We have a 2-part review of this. So we just pretend like Disc 3 doesn't exist.
Yeah, the little jam session.
Yeah, I mean, it really wasn't, and I'm not just going to go for the Beatles every time, but I really thought these two were the highlights of the year. Go with Plastic Ono Band.
Great choice.
Lennon. His first album, I'm not counting those other 3.
Yeah, the wedding records.
Yeah, no, we're not going to. 8 in UK, 6 in US. So as you see, not anything like what George did. But we got Working Class Hero.
One of Lennon's best solo comps, in my opinion.
Mother. But for me, Trey, this is actually not my favorite Lennon album.
Ooh.
I think he has one that's better, but for me, it's still good enough to come in at number 2.
No, man, I definitely can't argue with those picks right there, man. Both fantastic records by the lads. And now for my second pick, we're going to go a little swamp rock, Dad. A group that's been just so prolific. 3 records in 1969.
Crazy, man.
And a couple here in 1970. Crazy. We got CCR's Cosmo's Factory. As I mentioned, their 4th record in 18 months. The amount of iconic CCR tracks on this record is just ridiculous. Ramble Tamble, Run Through the Jungle, Up and Around the Bend, Who'll Stop the Rain.
Oh, that's great.
As long as I can see the light, and then the 11-minute
I was just saying that 11, that's what I was thinking.
I heard it through the grapevine. So you got a little bit of everything on here. Fogerty's guitar work is just phenomenal on this thing, and the band's just firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, if you haven't ever heard this, Trey did a full album reaction. Everything that we do reviews or reactions to, I'll have in the links below if you want to go check it out after the video. So, Trey, you got an eclectic 1-2. What are we coming in at 3?
Well, number 3, for those that don't know, I'm a big fan of punk music and stuff in that genre. So we're not quite, obviously, to the punk birth yet, but we're in that proto-punk era. And it's going to be a band that only had a few records, but I think their best is going to be this one. It's going to be the Stooges' second record, Fun House. Iggy Pop and company just bring the absolute reign on this one, man. So much just energy throughout this entire record, man. Down on the Street shows their ability to start off a record on a powerful note. A-side's very fast and furious, where on the B-side and tracks like the title track in LA Blues shows that they could kind of stretch their creative legs a little bit more than their debut, and they have a saxophone on the track 1970, and so you have that rawness there with them kind of growing musically as well. So really strong record if you haven't ever heard it, man.
Yeah, and I think very similar on the last one we did, you had Zappa.
Yeah.
And I think the Stooges are the same way, because Iggy's such a colorful character like Zappa. People have this opinion of them and don't realize how accomplished they are as musicians. So, all right, now we go to my third pick, T for the Tillerman.
Great album.
By Cat Stevens. 4 studio album, Wild World, Father and Son. It's just, the whole album is just a masterclass in songwriting. Have a review of it. For me, I think it's his second. I like Teaser and the Firecat is that much better. But I'll tell you what, man, this thing is just so good. And you know, Cat, after he disappeared from the public and stuff, I don't think he's necessarily held in as high acclaim as he should be if you go back and listen to a 3-album run he had here. But for me, that's coming in at 3.
Well, I do love that pick too. And the thing with that and Teaser and the Firecat is there's not like a bad song on that. You know, there's like 10 or 11 tracks, you know, in that 35-minute-ish range, and they just breeze on by. So
well, and I'm going to a guy that was on your last list as well. He's our uncle, Trey. It's Uncle Neil.
Uncle Neil, baby. Let's go.
After the Gold Rush, Neil Young, his third studio album, went to number 8. Tell Me Why. Of course, the title track, Southern Man.
Ooh,
I mean, I like it.
Song.
Skinner didn't necessarily, but I liked it. But Neil is just fantastic. And once again, if you don't know a lot of Neil Young, we reviewed his entire 70s catalog, courtesy of one of our patrons, Carl, and it's fantastic. I mean, it stands up there.
Yeah.
And this album stands up there with just about anything. Now, Trey, you're going to go to a guy who a lot of people thought we should have had a previous album of his on here, but now you're gonna tee this one up for the folks.
Yeah, so next up on my list here, gonna shift gears a little bit to Van the Man Morrison here with Moondance, which I think is so much better than Astral Week.
Oh, I don't even think it's any contest. Sorry guys. I know. I'm with you. We're gonna die on this island together.
Only his third record.
Yes.
And it shows the band doing a bit more of that traditional R&B, you know, pop, blue-eyed soul arrangements, whereas Astral Weeks, you know, had a bit more longer form, folky type of sound. So I just kind of whatever floats your boat. But these I think are more accessible tracks, blend well with Van's unique voice, and give a chance for the energetic instrumental sections to shine. It's a bit front-loaded, if you want to say a criticism, but that A-side is so darn good. And we have And It Stoned Me, Crazy Love, Caravan, and one of my favorite band tracks, Into the Mystic. The closer, though, Glad Tidings, is also a very just a warm-sounding song. And yet again, it's a very tight record at 10 tracks and 39 minutes.
Which we always prefer.
For my last pick here, this was one where there were a lot of records that could be there, and probably some of my honorable mentions are maybe better, front to back. But hey, man, it's my draft, and this is the last time I'll be able to show the Fab Four some love. So I'm going to be going with Let It Be by the Beatles. Obviously, you have the title track, The Long and Winding Road, the very underrated I've Got a Feeling, and Two of Us, which is great, Get Back. There are a couple just meh tracks on here, but hey, man, there's still a lot of greatness on this.
Yeah, and if you're familiar with the channel, we got a review of this up. We've got rankings of every Beatles album up. But the thing is with this album, and I say it all the time to people, but if it wasn't the Beatles, I think this album would be held in higher acclaim.
Yeah.
But we're trying to compare
judge it against themselves.
And it's a tough pull, man. I would have put it on my list, but now my last pick is someone who has appeared on 2 other countdowns, and a lot of people would not think that. I got Loaded by Velvet Underground, 4 studio album, hit singles, but album didn't chart. So that was kind of the end of the road. Last album with Lou Reed. They're already transitioning out a little bit. The bassist, Doug Yule, sings 4 of the 10 songs, but doesn't take away from it. Sweet Jane is, of course, classic. Oh, yeah. Just love the VU sound, man. Just do.
100%.
I know some people don't get them, but just do. Trey, you mentioned all these honorable mentions. This is probably going to be the year. We could have made a top 20 albums.
Oh, easy, dude. Easy.
Some of you are already having a fit over these next 2 that didn't somehow make it. But we got Bridge Over Troubled Water, Simon and Garfunkel. I've gone on record saying I don't think any of their albums are great. They're all really good. Led Zepp 3. Morrison Hotel by the Doors.
Great record, man. A Sunflower, a really strong Beach Boys record.
Definitely.
Bitches Brew by Miles Davis. Again, Miles is on fire with his fusion stuff here. Stage Fright by the band, as I mentioned earlier. Black Sabbath, self-titled. Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs, I would think is going to appear on some of y'all's list. By Derek and the Dominoes. Clapton really in top form there. Ladies of the Canyon, Joni Mitchell action. Abraxas by Santana. Live at Leeds by The Who. Again, we got American Beauty, Grateful Dead, Deep Purple and Rock, and Brighter Later by Nick Drake coming up. So
tons of stuff.
Ooh, and yet again, Dad, we mentioned in '69, like so many different types of genres that we're looking at here, and so many of these artists are popping up on almost every year, whether in our list or on honorable mentions, just showing how prolific all these greats were.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and how quickly they turned fantastic stuff out. And after you look at all those honorable mentions, I thought 71 was the hardest year. But now I don't know. Maybe 70 was, because man, that is a lot of great stuff left off. But we need to know what you guys think. Let us know who you think won this battle. I think it's really, really close. Whose list do you like better? And also, what do you think? Give us your list.
Yeah, man, another fun year. This has been a very awesome series to get underway, and
it has been.
We got the best yet to come, man. We're going to your birth year next.
Going to 1971, and before we get there, guys, we'll have a live stream of one of these albums every Thursday night at 6 o'clock right here on YouTube. So our patrons get to vote on 3 albums, whatever they choose. That's what we play. So check out our Patreon page down below or on the end screen when it hits in a minute.
And until next time, y'all, that'll do it from here. Thanks for watching. Happy listening, and we will see you.